Konnichiwa everyone. Well, as is tradition, whenever I finish up a large project, I like to go back through and refresh the edges of all my tools. But what I wanted to do today was I wanted to show you guys something cool that recently came into my possession. That is these. These are a very interesting Japanese chisel. These are called Maru Nomi. And Maru, I'm pretty sure, just means concave or convex, actually. I'll have to look that up. Don't quote me on that if I'm wrong. But anyway, these are really cool. These are actually designed for a couple of different things. They're basically in-cannel gouges, but they're built very, very rigid, very heavy duty, so they can take a lot of abuse and a lot of punishment. So I wanted to go over sharpening one of these. I actually haven't used one of these before. I haven't sharpened one before, so we're going to figure this thing out. From what I've read on these are actually really useful in doing joinery on round things like logs and sticks and, you know, all manner of round objects, so that's going to be kind of handy. What we're going to work on is a couple of the big guys here. The small ones are okay, we can do those off camera later. So what I wanted to work on were these. These are much bigger and they just feel awesome in the hand. I mean, this is like, if all my handles were this shape and size, I'd be a very happy camper. But we're going to sharpen these, and it's actually going to be a pretty short little thing because there's no Ura to maintain on these. I'm thinking that the most important bit of this is to actually maintain the actual radius of that. But a cool little tidbit, these are laminated just like their cousins are. You can see the actual edge of the steel with the iron there, so that's a really cool little touch by the blacksmith. So we're going to move all these Kana blades out of the way. I was just going over these. They're not done yet. I'll get back to them later. But I wanted to take a few minutes and sharpen these up for you guys because I like ya. And we're going to get this done because right now it's a balmy 102 outside with 75% humidity. Not fun, especially when you don't have aircon on your balcony. So there are far better things to do with our time than die in the heat, so we're going to occupy our time today with this. So my primary rule of sharpening something that you've never sharpened before is to go as slow as possible. And with anything, you know, you're always willing to make a mistake on certain things, but with chisels, if you go too far, you can always recover. That's a nice little thing about them. They're usually fairly long unless you get some of those Japanese Nabu chisels. If you don't know what a Nabu chisel is, it's just something I've started calling chisels that are kind of those little nubs. You know, you see them on eBay. Nabu is Japanese for nub, so Nabu chisel is a nub chisel. You can do what you want with that. So if you recall from the Kote Nomi video, you'll know that I turn my stones sideways whenever I'm sharpening with them. Just a little habit thing, but it helps me keep things nice and square. The nice thing about these is you don't have to worry about actually maintaining a back because they're round. Because nothing to keep flat, because it's not flat. Yeah, getting some good progress on that. It's got a bit of a bump there in the middle, so we'll try to take that out. Yeah, looking pretty good with that. Alright, so moving on to the next guy. This one's got a bit of a hoop issue there. It's just, yeah, come on. Kind of wants to come off, kind of doesn't. Oh, there it went. Came right off. So yeah, we're going to have to file that down a bit later on, but we can handle that. Let's get this sharp right now. This one's got a good bit of rust on there. So if you ever run into something where there's a good bit of rust like that, make sure you don't use your main good stone for that. Just to kind of grind through that layer, you can use your diamond stone, which is what I'm going to do here. If this is somehow sacrilege, I think I'll live. Alright, so we've broken through that rust layer. Now we can move on to the stone. Just repeat the process of basically what we were doing with the other one. This one's going to need a good bit of work because a bit of a lopsided dealio going on with that edge there. This side, definitely taller than the other side, so might put this off to a little bit later. I also noticed too that the handle on this is moy cracked, so tell you what, we're going to just sharpen up this guy here, and we're going to stick with this one, finish it all the way through. The other ones I'll just do off camera. You might see them again later on. So let's move on to the other stones with this guy, see what kind of edge we can get. So that handle being cracked actually brings up a pretty good point, and something I want to mention here. That if you're just getting into this stuff, I do not recommend buying used old tools off of eBay. If you've been at it for a while and you know what you're doing, not a problem, but if you're just getting started and you don't quite know what to do, you don't quite know what to buy, the best course of action is to buy new tools, because that way you will see exactly the way that they're supposed to be. They won't have any weirdness. You will know exactly where they're coming from, and you can do exactly what you want with them much easier than if you have to sort of undo some previously poorly done work, as is the case with this guy here. Of course, this wasn't too bad. I've seen a lot worse. And there's a lot of shops that sell good stuff right off the bat, and they're not too expensive, but just remember, it's not about who has the most tools. It's really about learning how to use them as best as possible. And I know a lot of people will say that, you should have every kind of tool imaginable, and, it's really good to have a well-stocked shop. That's all fine and dandy and such, but I will tell you, a wise man once told me that you should never trust a carpenter who has no sawdust either in his ears, in his hair, or anywhere in his shop. Alright, not bad. We're looking pretty good. That's just with the 5000 there. Got a pretty decent edge on that. I'm just going to move on to the polishing stone, and I think we're going to call this one done. 8000 grit. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So we got a really nice edge on that. This steel is actually really, really wonderful to work with. Whoever made this really put some effort into it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this hoop fit a little bit tighter. It's actually on there pretty well right now, but I'm just going to soak this again, bring that mushroom out a little bit stronger, and just make sure it's not going to wiggle around. And also, while I'm here, I'm just going to hit this with a little tiny bit of some butcher block conditioner. It's just that beeswax and oil mix. I really like the patina that's on it right now, and I don't want to scrape it all off. I'd rather preserve it. It takes a good 50-40 years or so to get that kind of look to it, so ooh, I like that. Alright, we're going to let this soak for just a little bit, and we're going to get it worked out. That's pretty good. Fairly consistent, no weeble wobble on the hoop. Now the last little bit, there is a little bit of rust here, but I'll be honest guys, I really don't believe in taking all the rust off of things like this. If it gets really pitted, I'll take it off, but if I were to sand through that, I'd also sand through all the blackening agent, and I just don't really feel like doing that, but you can see the maker, or you could. Let's see, here we are. If anyone can read that, or if you know who the maker is, do let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, let's go give this guy a shot. Yeah, kind of excited about this. Alright, let's see what this thing can do. Oh, that is very nice. Let's see what we can do. A little scrap piece of ash here. Let's see. This side will do fine. Oh, that is awesome, man. I really like that. Definitely create a nice little channel with that. Let's see. Man, that's not bad. Check that out. Pretty clean cut. That thing's got some good steel on it. I'm a happy camper. So I am very happy with the way that this one turned out. I love the steel on this thing. It just sharpens up so well. It looks really cool too. I always like that sort of vintage aged look that these have after a while. The other two I'm going to do off camera later on. These are going to need a lot more work, so won't bore you guys with that. Later on down the road, I might make a box or something for the set. That'd be kind of cool. It's about 6 of them total, so keep an eye out for that one. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Especially a big thank you to the patrons on Patreon. You know who you are. If you like this video and you want to see more similar to it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. And as always, have an awesome day. Arigatou gozaimasu. Ja mata ne.